So today we have an interesting video. I'm actually interviewing Addison Chen, who is my boyfriend. And for those of you who don't know about him through my YouTube channel, my podcast, he is a technology consultant at Accenture. So we're kind of like, multi-talented, but also everyone in here, well, it's just two of us, are Accenture technology consultants. So today we're going to be talking a little bit more about his career, his journey, because I think his journey, despite us coming from New York and then also going into Accenture, we have very different journeys. Without further ado, we're going to go on. And for the video, you guys may have noticed that we have matcha latte. I made it, so it's kind of like a thank you for being here, because he's like he hates being on camera. If you guys haven't noticed in my videos, he hates being on camera. And he's okay on the podcast episodes because his face isn't shown, but here we go. Yeah, I should drink some too.
I still prefer bubble tea.
Wow.
That's right.
All right. So we're going to go right into it. And the first thing I want to ask is, please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Addison Chen. I am from New York City. I've been in a lot of Christine's videos because I was forced to, not because I wanted to.
No.
But yeah. So during the weekend, I help her out with her YouTube stuff. But then during the weekdays, I am actually same as Christine, technology consultant, working using the Workday system and helping out clients and as a consultant.
Yeah. So can you give me more about your college career as well? Like, where did you go to college? What did you study? That kind of background.
Yeah, so when I went to college, I went to SUNY Albany, which is a state university school. And I was there. Originally, I wanted to study electrical engineering, but then there was no major for that. So I actually decided I want to try out IT at first. But then later on, during my first few classes, I felt like computer science was more interesting compared to IT. So that's why I decided to just focus on computer science throughout my college years.
There's a major for IT?
Yeah, information technology. It's literally what's just called IT.
So what do they actually study for that?
It's like web designing, I believe, or web browsing, or just teaching you how to use HTML. I think so.
So what about computer science attracted you compared to IT or other fields?
I think it's just the fact that in computer science, there's more. They teach you how to use Java and C++, and actually the project itself was more interesting compared to what you just do in the IT courses, which just you have to know how to use I think in SUNY Albany, they teach you mainly just how to use HTML, JavaScript, and mostly just presentation type of sort of projects.
I see.
While in computer science, it was all about programming, and it was more challenging. It was definitely, I felt like I did regret doing computer science because I was struggling a lot during junior and senior year. But now it's over, so got my degree, so I'm fine.
Wow. So this is an icebreaker that I ask everyone, and by now you should know this. What's the question? Do you know this question I ask?
No.
Wow. If you had all the time in the world, what would you be doing?
If I have all the time in the world, I would like to start building computers because I think the only reason why I wanted to do IT was because I thought that we actually can do building computers, going to the actual the BIOS and actually fix it up or if any issues.
Insert a bunch of jargon here.
Yes.
This is why he's a technical consultant and I am the functional consultant.
Well, that's what happens in my first job, actually. I think I started doing that more into computer hardware instead of coding.
All right, so the first question I'm going to ask you is, what are your aspirations in life?
My aspiration in life right now is just take it day by day, just what's that word? Develop in my career, because I think for me, I like the idea of starting from the bottom and then going to the top. So I want to do something I really like, and then as I progress throughout my years, I want to be able to do something that overcomes what my parents have been through, what my sisters. I want to be able to do something and actually go above. If that makes sense.
Okay. So in terms of, and I think you already talked about this, but what about technology excites you?
Just the fact that you can do almost everything. Like, for example, you can just go on to another like company's like API and be able to just use their data, and then you can use that data to configure a program that you're working on. And I think that's interesting. Like, if you know how to do that, you can do anything with computers and programs in general.
What a nerd. All right, so, and you mentioned this before, but why did you study computer science and math? Specifically math, because you went over computer science.
Oh, because in SUNY Albany, you're forced to pick either math or science. And at first I wanted to just do computer science and science itself, but then I just couldn't understand physics and chemistry during those courses. So I decided to just drop it and go into the math and just struggle through the math theories because I'm really bad in physics in general.
Do you use any math that you learned in college in work?
No one does. I'm not going to be using theories with my clients. But like, okay, you need to know how to use this math.
1 + 1
right
equals
here.
2.
Here's the Pythagorean theorem. Figure it out.
Okay. So you went to a public and state school. How was your experience, and why did you choose that over a private school? So I know like you only applied to public schools, but why specifically did you want to go for public schools?
I think during my senior year of high school, I didn't really care where I was going as long as I go to college. Just because I couldn't really afford going to a good school, and I felt like my grades was average anyway. So I was like, okay, whichever school picked me, I will decide which one I want to go to. And most of the schools I picked were CUNYs and SUNYs. I didn't really care much about private schools until I went to the campus. But then every time during those presentations, they talk about how much the tuition is at the end, and I just can't afford spending like all that money, even though because I didn't get any scholarships. So they're asking me, they're like, okay, every year is gonna be like what, $25,000, but it's okay. You can get a loan, guys. Yeah.
Oh, $25,000. Meanwhile, $70,000 a year, and you think that's a lot already.
You can get a loan, and then I'm just like, okay. After graduation, I'll be in debt for like $60K. Okay, yeah, that's awesome.
Oh, $60K. I would have had like if I had no loans, it would have been $250,000, something like that.
I mean, in the end, it worked out for you, but but during my senior year, I'm just like, I don't know if I get a job by then. So I was pretty like, okay, this may not happen. So private school may not be the best choice for me. While SUNY, for people like me who live in New York, is cheaper because they have a lot of like programs you can join. Like EOP is also one of the programs you can join for people who. EOP is like folks who like the grades aren't like the best of the best, and they're like and their parents don't make as much money. I think then so you can join those programs, and then you can give you like a discount for the tuition. I believe, I don't remember.
Is this like equal opportunity program, something like that?
Yeah, something like equal opportunity program for people who are not in a great financial situation.
So this is actually what I find really interesting because both of us are technology consultants at Accenture. We're both in New York. We're both around the same age. Like he's just like, what, 6 months away from me?
Yeah.
So what's the main difference from, at least like knowing my background and my perspective, from being a private school versus public school but still going to the same place? What would you say was like a good thing about it, and what would you say was a bad thing about it?
Well, I think from your experience in private schools, you definitely, a lot of more companies look at you more because of your school name. Because I feel like when I was applying for jobs, they didn't care much about SUNY schools, except if you're from like Buffalo or Binghamton. But Albany, they're just like, okay, well, you went to a school that they barely ever heard of. So I think it was harder for me to find a job during that time after I graduated. And I think for Christine, she worked pretty hard, and she done a lot of like extra activities besides school. So I think that's one thing I've seen between private school and SUNYs. And yeah, what else do you think, Christine?
Well, for sure, you guys probably know about this by now. Our first home buying experience, and because I went to BU, so of course I have a lot of student loans. It took a while to save up and also to pay off those loans. Meanwhile, for him, he was good right off the bat. He was saving since day one. I think you paid off your student loans before you even graduated?
I mean, so every semester I had to pay like about $7K. So what I've done was I just worked most of the time during the summer.
So jealous.
So honestly, I didn't really get any like internships during those 4 years because I was just too busy working to pay off for my own tuition. So that's one thing it was good. I didn't have any loans because I paid it off myself. But then when it came to after graduation, I didn't have internship. I didn't have experience. So all I had was a computer science degree. And honestly, a lot of people like the idea like, oh, you got computer science, so that means you must know how to program. So that's why I still get interviews from that.
So that actually goes into my next question, which is why technology consulting and not like software development or software engineering, something like that?
Well, because for me, it's like if I'm coding, I want to be able to help people at the same time. So like, and what I do as an IT consultant, I'm from the integration side. So what we do is that we configure like connectors in order to get like one data to flow to another external like SFTP, for example. So I feel like it is part of coding, and I feel like I'm helping people at the same time. So I want to be able to find a good like feel a match between those two, helping people and coding, and be able to, if that makes sense. I don't know. I'm just putting things together.
Watch my video if you want to know more about what technology. Oh my God, Don!
I'm just trying to give a general like idea of what I do. I'm not gonna explain it.
All right. So you mentioned before you didn't have any internships or work experience before your first full-time job. How did you find your first job then? And what were some lessons you learned, or like hard lessons you had to learn?
I think right after graduating, I spent the whole week just like applying to like all different type of work sites like Monster. I went to Job Recruiter. I went to Indeed. I went to there was a bunch, and then all like technology resume type of websites, and eventually I got like a few interviews, which I didn't do as well. But then in the end, I decided to both apply for computer science jobs and IT job because originally I was interested in IT to begin with when I was in freshman year. So I was like, why not just try to apply for that as well? And in the end, the only job I ended up getting after like 2 weeks of searching, I don't remember how long it took me. I think it was 2 to 3 weeks, and then eventually I got a job right off the bat with a company, which was a startup company for an IT, like more like I guess tech supporting. But the thing is, as I mentioned earlier ago, like I prefer to start a job at the bottom and then be able to get a good job like right in as I gain experience throughout the years. So I didn't mind working in like a smart startup and be able to get like a IT position. So that's what happened.
So that company was called Demonstrated Tech, right?
Yeah.
How was your experience there? Because I know it's a mixed review. Tell us all the stories.
Well, I was hired because of my resume, because he just liked the idea that I was in computer science. I'm able to make something, like program something maybe for the company itself. So that's why I was hired. But then the job itself is mainly just IT supporting. So it was a lot of like, if there's like an issue with a computer, I had to figure out how to fix it. I need to talk to clients almost like every day. I need to call like all the vendors every time when it comes to acquisitions and be able to just figure out the issues with like if there's a bug or if there is anything computer related, anything with computer related. Like so there was a time when a client called me and was like, oh, my computer, like how'd I turn it on? And I had to teach them where the power button is. And they're like, yeah, I see it's yellow. And I was like, okay, yellow means it's in sleep mode. It's like, why is yellow sleep mode? And I was like, just press the button. And it's like, I pressed it, but then the logo isn't turning on. I was like, you're not supposed to press the logo, you're supposed to press the power button. So yeah, eventually we just come up with all these type of like situations that happens with clients. Right, because the client, they have employees who obviously are not very technology savvy. So because of that, it's, yeah, you should probably tell what people in IT usually ends up like suffering, because of people who don't know where the power button is or where their mouse is, and don't even know a lot of the simple stuff, which I feel like they should teach you during like introductions, or at least test people before they hire people who use computers.
So you probably got a lot of patience then from that, since you had to work with a lot of
Yeah,
people.
eventually you got better at it. Like you're just like, okay, you see the case, right? If you put your eyes a little closer to where it is,
Eyes a little closer.
if you look closer to this button on this computer, because in the end we're the one that deploy these computers, right? So we should know what the model is and what it does. So we have to just be like very detailed on how it looks. But then of course there are like people who are like 60 years old who are employees, and you're just like they don't understand anything I'm saying. So what usually might happen is we just do FaceTime and just tell them like, okay, see that gray button? Okay, that means something's wrong with it, right? Unplug it, send it back to me. We'll fix it later.
So what were some mistakes you made on the job then?
Oh, I mean, plenty of mistakes, man.
Give me all the juicy ones.
I think my first project was saving the company a lot of money, because they have so many phone numbers that they're not using, and they don't even realize they have it, and it's just sucking up like 50 cents or even $1 per month, and that adds up throughout the years. So my issue was that time was that I didn't know how to work with vendors. Like I had to call like probably the vendor so many times, and it took me forever to get used to like getting to the right questions, because sometimes even the people who are doing the phone stuff, they don't even know what I'm talking about. So that's a lesson learned. Like I have to be able to professionally figure out like how to get to the point, and then also mention like, okay, this is what I don't want. I want these to be canceled, and just being able to talk to clients who are like in the higher hierarchy. You have to make sure you talk to them more respectfully. They're not just regular employees that don't know how to use computers. Like they could be people that talk to them how to use computer, but you have to make them feel like they know what they're doing without trying to talk down on them.
Sounds like some relationship tips too. So from this experience, because you haven't had any corporate experience, either internships or jobs before this, you were able to transfer that into Accenture. So coming from such a small company and going into a big company, what were like some culture shocks? What were some things you had to learn here and there?
Culture shock, definitely the fact that I went from like a small 3 or 4 people company into like a global company. And it was just so different, because I don't even know who I need to talk to. Like when it comes to like starting on your first project, who's supposed to be the one helping me get maybe started, or who's the top person that I need to get along with. And I guess in general, it was just a huge difference between working in a small company versus a big company.
But other than so you're saying that it's really just learning what to do, who to talk to, who to get along with, right? That's mostly what you were dealing with? Usually,
yeah. Because in a small company, you know everybody at that point, because they're all there. You know who you need to talk to, like who's your boss and who's your coworkers. While at Accenture, everyone is they're everywhere.
So how different was your job then?
That's a pretty big difference, because usually I'm always the one that is in control of like dealing with the clients themselves, and I used to just do IT stuff, while at Accenture I'm doing more configurations and actually using my degree. So yeah.
That's good then. What's your most and least favorite part of working at Accenture, or at least working in technology consulting?
Well, my favorite thing about working in technology consulting is definitely like you control what time you're doing something. Like you don't have to focus like 9 to 5. You can take off maybe like during the afternoon, and then come back and work at night, as long as you finish your project stuff during that deadline. So that's one thing I like. Like there's a lot of flexibility with time. Bad thing is I guess the bad thing is just trying to think of one. I guess like who could, like if you go on PTO, who will replace you sometimes, because you may not have enough resources during the project, and you may need to just hand it over to someone else, but they may not know what you do most of the time, even if you try to do a knowledge transfer. So I guess that's one thing.
Okay. So you are what they call a technical consultant, and I'm a functional consultant, but in your own words, what is the difference between the two?
I feel like functional consultants, they deal mainly with the clients. Like they have to talk, they have to know what the terminology or what some of the stuff itself in the system does, while technology consultants, they deal with the technical questions most of the time. They need to understand like, is this possible to flow in, or can we get these fields into our report, you know, get in the data, is this possible from an integration perspective? Is it possible to use these securities, stuff like that? Like security questions, I don't believe functional consultants deal with that. They deal with like, okay, this is possible, this is not possible. This data may be able to go in there.
Kind of, not really.
I'm just talking about, like, I guess, functional from like a HCM perspective.
Okay. I mean, financials, we still deal with security, but for financial roles.
Yeah, financial roles. I have no idea about the financial stuff, by the way. Like, because in Workday, there's a bunch of different modules you can deal with, which is like HCM, recruiting, financials, etc.
So, fun question. How is it like working with your significant other in the same company or in the same office? Do you have any tips for anyone, or even during the quarantine? Working from home in the same place?
It's definitely awkward, I guess, because everyone will be like, oh yeah, you're Christine's boyfriend. And I'm just like, that's basically who I'm known
because
now.
I started first, so everyone associated you with me first.
So Christine was the one that referred me into the company. And so whenever I go to the office before COVID times, it was like, they're all like, oh yeah, you're Christine's boyfriend. And that's usually how they will know me at that point. And then, yeah, so it's awkward, but then you get used to it, and then you eventually make friends with them, which is nice.
Do you have any tips for, I don't know, separating personal and work life?
Well, in the office, you can definitely not be near your significant other. You can just be with other coworkers, and stay away from your girlfriend or boyfriend at that point, because it's like
or husband or wife.
Yeah, because that's one way if you're in office. But if you're at home, the best thing to do is maybe be in different rooms, or just put headphones on. Usually that helps.
You can't do that in a New York apartment, though.
Put soundproof headphones? Yeah, you can. Yeah.
You mean noise canceling?
Noise canceling, not soundproof. Okay. Or be in a soundproof room away from your significant other.
Wow.
One of those options will work.
Make sure to look for my video when it comes out, when it comes to about the office tour or like the condo tour for the aftermath. We're still working on it. Right now you're kind of seeing a sneak peek of the apartment. Kind of done, not really, but we'll see from there. So what are your long and short-term career goals?
Let's see. I don't really think about my career goals. For me, it's just like, okay, I want to gain experience doing this right now. And then eventually, I want to see what I'm more interested in as I get older. Maybe I want to be in a manager position eventually. So I guess right now, where I am right now, I want to gain more experience as a consultant, and then move up to a manager, and then maybe one day get my own business eventually when I turn 30 or something.
What would that business be?
I mean, we can make a business together about opening a shop. You can't mention it. People will steal your ideas. Something like that will work. Either or. But yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. Like for me, I just want to gain as much experience in all different positions. For me right now, it's in consulting, so I want to gain maybe up to 3 or 4 years more experience in consulting. And then maybe move on if I decided I want to do something more interesting.
Okay. So what is your favorite tech? Because if you guys don't know him, but when it comes to technology, he's like, oh my God, look at this new technology. He's always watching tech reviews on YouTube. He wants to eventually start his own YouTube channel, so we're going to go into that in the next section. But what is your favorite technology and why?
When you say favorite technology, are you seeing like technology products or
Anything,
technology
anything.
networking itself, like
Anything.
5G?
Literally
is coming out,
anything.
or it came out already?
Anything.
I guess my favorite technology in general is just like new technology products that comes out from like other companies, like new headphones. Like I always like to look at new headphones.
What is your favorite? Not what are some of your favorites. What is the favorite?
The favorite? I don't know. It's too many to choose.
Wow.
Technology.
If you had to choose one.
Computers.
What? Okay, so tell me, what computers do you have right now? Plural.
I have a pre-built Alienware PC, but eventually I want to build my own computer.
Okay. What else do you have?
I have
He has more than one, by the way.
I have a Razer laptop and I have an Apple. So as you can tell, I don't like to choose between. I like Apple and Windows ecosystem. I like to be able to try on both. But right now, I think I'm more toward. Again, I'm like both, based on like just convenience. Like I feel like the Apple, my MacBook is a lot faster and convenient to move around with, while a PC you can do a lot more features and things to configure in.
Okay. So now we're gonna go right into the side hustles. What else do you do outside of your job?
Outside my job, let's see. I like to write articles, but my thing is when it comes to me writing articles, it has to be something I'm interested in. So I guess in the beginning of quarantine, I felt like I was more interested in just writing about coding and then write down like some tips and what you can do to learn how to build certain programs. But lately, there's nothing been interesting that's coming up that I found like is interesting to write. So I've also been writing about like my real estate journey. Also been writing about like inspirations of like how you can grow from computer science.
So when are you gonna start your YouTube channel, and what will it be about?
See, I feel like if for YouTube channel right now, I'm thinking of starting like a technology type of channel, like a desk setup is what I'm thinking of right now, or just. I guess maybe product review one day. So I guess like this is what I'm using for like productivity. This is why I'm using this desk or this PC or these keyboards are easy to use configuring. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of right now. Maybe some type of productivity desk setup type of channel with some technology products reviews, but I need to think of more interesting stuff to talk about.
That's some expensive niche. It means you have to buy all those things to review on.
Because I'm interested in new technology that comes out, but of course,
as long as you pay the mortgage.
It's expensive. Everything's expensive.
Okay, so what's next for you in 2021?
For 2021, as I mentioned before, I'm thinking of continuing with my current job right now and my projects. And continue and actually maybe start my first video on January.
What will it be about?
Definitely, I'm thinking of.
What could it be about?
Probably a desk setup video first.
Okay. Definitely check it out. When the video comes out, it will be in the description down below. Yes. So, my last question for you is, how can we find you on social media?
You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn.
What's your Instagram?
Chen 1995. I don't really use Instagram much, but yeah.
It's mostly to document our journeys together.
Basically.
You'll just see photos of me.
And you can read my articles on Medium.
What's your Medium handle thingy?
I think this is Addison Chen, but you'll see it on the description.
It'll be down in the description. All right, so one last bonus question. What is your least and most favorite part about me?
I have a lot of negative, but not positive.
What?
I'm just kidding. Let's see. I guess my least favorite.
Wow, you gotta start with the least favorite. Okay, go for it.
My least favorite is how annoying it can be with someone who's always trying to be an influencer.
I'm not an influencer. I'm just trying to be helpful, okay?
I feel like YouTubers, they're always trying to record everything, and then Christine's like, okay, hold this. Let me get this right position. Hey, I need this for a thumbnail. This doesn't look good enough. The good thing I'll say is, I guess she's good with finance stuff. You know, at least she knows that much. It's pretty good.
At least I know that much.
At least she knows enough about finance because she is a business major, so I can trust her sometimes.
That's your most favorite thing about me is not that I'm amazing, but because I know finance.
I like your hair.
I guess he doesn't like my personality then. Okay, tell me, what is the most favorite thing you like about me? He's taking his time drinking. He's thinking. What is it?
What's the question?
What is the most favorite thing about me?
My favorite thing about you? There's a lot of things. I just can't say them all. You know what I'm saying, guys?
What is your most favorite one?
Most favorite? There's still a lot. You know, I can't say them all.
You have to say one, or else you're on the couch tonight.
I like your cooking.
We all know that's fake. Give me a real one.
It's true.
Give me a real one.
You're pretty.
Give me a real one.
It is a real one.
Yeah, but you said it with such jokingness. I don't want jokingness. I want a real one.
Okay. You're beautiful.
That feels fake.
Well, guys, thanks for having me around. You know, but yeah, stay tuned for my videos. You know, it's probably gonna be better than hers. So we'll see.
Okay, well, that's a wrap. And actually, I commend you because it seems like you're pretty comfortable on camera. I feel like after the Litao video, you did pretty well. You were like very comfortable. If you guys haven't seen that video, make sure to check it over here. It's basically when we brought over our friend and coworker, Litao Zhao, and basically tried to auction him off to get a girlfriend. So Uncle Chen came in here like towards the second part and asked all the funny questions, so make sure to check out that video. You get a lot more interesting parts.
I saved that video, by the way. I saved it.
Wow. All right, so without further ado, do you have anything else you'd like to say to my viewers, to my listeners?
Definitely I can say like, don't worry which schools you go to, just work hard and just figure out what you want to do. And don't let your parents decide your fate.
Sounds like most Asian people will say that.
Asian parent problems.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Comment down below if you have any questions for him, anything at all, even relationship advice, I guess. I mean, like, he still did not really give me a real best thing about me, most favorite thing about me. Instead, you just bat your eyes like nothing happened. All right.
Life is nice.
That is it. But this was more on his career. I think like I kind of want to do a video on more on the personal stuff, like let's say relationships, because like I think that'd be more fun for a lot of people.
I mean, if people are interested in that, sure.
Yeah. So comment down below if you want to hear that too. Yeah.
You can start an Instagram poll right now.
I could do a YouTube community poll on that.
Oh yeah.
All right. So signing off.
Peace.